Oh, no, we are live.
It does. Yeah, it does say you're live.
Yeah, well, screw it, dude.
Well, hey,
we're live.
Cool.
Oh, man, that's funny, dude. I'm going to look real quick to make sure people can actually see me live on here. Dude, they can. See? Facebook's lying to me. So anyone who's watching this right now, you got to see like real behind the scenes complications of life just hitting me right in the feels. That's great, man. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to a live episode of the Cameron Hodge Show. Dude, today I am joined by Ed Wheeler, my partner in crime and also active duty military member. Dude, we are going to sit down. We're going to talk to you about getting your license, your real estate license, rather, while active duty military. I've had a lot of people reaching out to me recently, and one or two veterans I'm actually personally working with on getting their license right now. And a lot of people are asking about it. I think a lot of military members, just like regular people, are feeling pressure in this economy with finding a way to make a little bit of extra income. And maybe we can kind of shed some light here. So, dude, why don't you introduce yourself, man? I know you've been on before, but...
Stop it.
Sorry, my daughter.
Good.
Yeah, so my name's Ed Wheeler. I'm an active duty sailor and realtor. So now I started off in Virginia, up in Norfolk, Hampton Roads area. And then I moved PCS down to Jacksonville, Florida, and just basically transferred my license down there and just kept going. Yeah. You want me to tell more? Like, you want me to
make
go
it sound like
like
you haven't done anything, dude. Like, how about you talk about how many transactions you've closed while being active duty military?
All right, so total transactions closed. Are we counting referrals as well?
Dude, I don't give a shit. Anything that brought you money.
Yeah. Okay. Over 30. Over 30. And
over 30 transactions. How long have you been licensed?
2021.
2021 is when you got licensed, right? Your first license?
Right.
Sweet. How much money do you think you brought in total during that time? Like, commission to you?
$180,000.
$180,000.
Give or take.
Over 2 years.
Correct.
So how many of you in the military could see yourself making an extra 180 grand over 2 years? What is that? It's about 90 grand. Is my math right? Yeah. About 90 grand.
Yeah, you're right.
Extra before taxes per year. Even while that's while he's active duty Navy. Like, it's not like you weren't, like, you're getting ready for a deployment even this year, brother. And that's what I think a lot of us, they reach out and they're like, hey, man, I want to get my real estate license. And, what's cool is like, it's not like you really had to waste time doing that during the whole time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you somehow had to juggle both. I'm sure it wasn't easy. But, what do you think some advice that we could give to people who are looking to get licensed in the military while still working every single day? Like, is it a smart decision? Sure. Who should do it? Who shouldn't do it?
I do think it's a smart decision. I don't think it is for everyone. Just because this industry, as you well know too, I mean, it's not an easy industry to navigate. Now, fortunately, we have, you and I have created some things where we can help people, and that's our whole goal, is to help people, especially in the military, to, to navigate everything. But, if you're not a social media person, or you don't want to get out there, you don't want to do cold calls and, all that kind of stuff, maybe this isn't right for you. There's a number of other things that you could do. But other than that, I mean, if you talk to a lot of people, I mean, generally at least in the Navy, and I'm sure it's the same way with all the different branches, we talk to a lot of people and we have a lot of connections. So that really helps when it comes to being a real estate agent and just opening the door. There's a big opportunity for people that are military, because we PCS, permanent change of station, we PCS. We know what that's like, and a lot of other realtors just really don't know. So I think like it could be good for anybody, but at the same time, you have to know your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that. I think there's a lot of hype around the area where it's like, you're going to get your license, you're going to make a lot of money. It's going to be great. It's still sales, it's still work, and it's definitely going to be a lot more work than you would be not doing something like that. Like, it's definitely not free money.
Correct.
Like I tell everyone though, the cool thing is once you get your license, no matter what state you're in, you get this like blessing from the government that you can now like refer deals out. So you don't even have to personally close the things. Like, you could just be the networking guy who's like, hey, you know what? John and Sally want to buy a home. I don't need to work with them directly. I'm just going to refer it out for 35% because I work hard for these transactions. And a lot of agents get caught up. They're like, oh, 25% is the standard. In a low price market, I'd agree. 25% is normal. But imagine like you're just making an extra couple grand just because you are the connector. Like, people. And How many times, especially we have past clients who, they refer us a couple deals. Man, I had one veteran over the last year where he sent me 3 other transactions, just him alone. And I'm like, dude, like, get your license, man. Like, why not? I'm like, there's a lot of brokerages that cater to agents who just want to do referrals. I'm not saying you have to stay there forever and be in a position to where you can now make, an extra 50 grand a year. It doesn't even have to be like a top producer. And the cool thing is people still remember you as the connector. I mean, I think in this environment, military members, not like they're not getting paid nothing, but I mean, how many of us do you know the ones that are struggling? Even if you're a spouse staying at home, like, why not? Like, there's nothing saying you can't get your real estate license and refer out deals or just be that person while still being able to watch the kids if that's what you're doing. Even if you don't have kids. Like, I think it's a great profession, especially if you don't even need the money, but it can be something that's great to do. So I don't know, man. I think it's something that a lot of people should look into, especially if you're looking to get into real estate anyways. Like, it's not an easy thing, but it's something that you really should consider. But I think we need to let people know it's not the cheapest to get started.
It's not. I mean, it's not expensive either, though.
No. I mean, I think in California, it took me about like $600 to get licensed initially.
Just for the license, yes. Yeah. It's not terribly expensive for just the license, but it's everything that they don't tell you after the fact.
Yeah. What's funny is you get your license
fees and MLS dues.
I mean, it probably costs us on average about $1,200-$1,300 a year just to maintain your licenses active. And that means that, that's the average real estate commission in the United States, I think, is about $8,000. I think is what the average real estate commission is right now on average.
Yeah.
So for those of you listening, like, that's about the average, right? Being in the military, like, I think it's also a big flex because, I mean, look at what you're doing right now. Like, your command is in a position where you might be doing a seminar to a ton of sailors just because you're able to make the connections and make it happen. And even if you're not the one giving the seminar, like, you're the connector. You know what I mean? And there's nothing saying you can't have a business while in the military. Like, sure, like, they're going to make sure that their work's getting done while you're in the military. But I mean, if you're struggling for money in the military and you're looking for a way, you're interested in real estate, it can be a way to generate active income. And now I think the big flex is if you don't need the money from a sales license, you use that money to build your cash reserves to go invest in real estate. That's what you really want to do.
Right. I agree because I know a bunch of guys that, especially when I was up in Norfolk during the height of the whole craziness of COVID, there were a lot of properties that were getting rehab.
Yeah.
And so there was a bunch of guys that were active duty military and they had their license. So they would buy one and rehab it slowly over time.
Yep.
And then they would sell it themselves with their real estate license. That's another way that you can do it without having to necessarily go call people and stuff like that.
Right. Even if you want to be active in a transaction, right? Maybe you want to get a bigger piece of the pie. Maybe you don't want to refer out the clients, right? Most showings are when you're off work anyways, because most people work regular 9-to-5 jobs and they want to see homes on weekends and Fridays. So don't think that you get in your real estate license and you have to be one showing all these homes and going to these appointments. Like, the reality is, and that's obviously a big thing, a part of our lives is, like, right now, like, I have an agreement with my buyers that they all sign and agree to, and we have a plan in place to where they can go to open houses and see the home at first showing. I have showing agents that can do the showings for me to where I don't necessarily have to do it. And listings are easy because once you win the listing, you're not really having to go back to the property all too much, other than being able to work virtually and take phone calls and things like that. And we all know, hey, that smoke pit can be a great break, and you can take care of calls and stuff while you're in that smoke pit. So, there's a lot of ways in the military.
I cannot tell you how many times in the smoke pit I have chopped it up talking about the VA loan or this would be good or that would be good, or, maybe you don't want to look there because of this. I mean, you'd be surprised,
Yeah. No, I know, man. I mean, I think a lot of agents, they look at a lot of different things. They want to do all these crazy businesses. They want to, oh my God, dude, how many of us do we know? Veterans. I mean, how many veterans do I run into and you run into on a daily basis to where they're like, man, I've seen veterans that have multiple car leases. Like they're just massive in credit card debt, and the money they make from the military is just not enough to get them by. And in that position, it's like, hey man, if you're willing to get crazy with it, why, how many veterans do we know? You'll be on base, you order the local Domino's pizza, and you can... Okay, what's that? Sorry, guys, temporary. If you're watching this on the podcast, it is... What is this? Oh, gotcha. Sorry, we're live right now. You're getting the real thing right now. So...
Absolutely. I got family. You got family.
I know. I got clients messaging me right now. It's part of the chaos. But the thing is this, and I think I wanted to do this episode to dive into it, and it's really talk about the grind. I mean, if you're a veteran who is already looking at getting something, maybe you're looking for that extra form of income. I think I would rather see a veteran look at getting a sales license, like a real estate license, or maybe it's a lender's license. It doesn't really matter. It's getting a license that actually pays you good money, because how many veterans do we know that they end up working some crap job somewhere, or they're working at the local Domino's delivering pizza or doing Uber in off hours. And I'm like, no, man. I'm like, there are way better ways to make money than doing that. Here's a good example. We had a conversation this morning, right? Where I want to start diverting some of the commission income, and I want to start buying Section 8 rentals. Because around the United States, there are still deals where you can buy properties for less than 150 grand that can make you 600 per month if it's the right property. And imagine if you need 20 to 30 grand to buy that property, approximately. How quick could you generate that if each one of your commission checks is about 6 to 8 grand? If that's not the money you need to live off of. And now all of a sudden, or maybe you just use it to buy your own house. I really don't freaking care. But the thing I want to give to a lot of veterans is so many are struggling right now. And that's what obviously a big thing what we're doing. We have our training company, Tired Agents. So if you are a veteran looking to get interested, we're going to have the training in place to show you how Ed does it, how I do it, how we stay busy. But you can still use that license and leverage it more than the typical traditional model is going to tell you to do it. But we also have Agents of the Armed Forces, and we have found a good way to help veterans personally, to make it work and to show them, hey, there are better ways to do this, Right. And I mean, I've gotten out of them. For example,
I went from having a massive amount of debt, and I have no debt other than my house and my car.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I know that a lot of military, they struggle with too. And so they sit there and they have the Uber, like you said, or they'll do something else. But, I think there's so many military out there that are interested, but they don't get up and do it. And I think the other thing we're trying to say is, hey, just try something. Just do it.
You have to, because really, you're not really spending much money. I mean, everyone in the military, I'm determined, knows one person who wants to do something in real estate, who wants to buy or whatever. And just getting that one person, you've already made your money back with the license in the first year.
Right.
The trick is how do you find something that works for you to keep making those deals happen? But I can tell you, having that network while you're active duty, getting out of the military, it's so much harder. Because getting that access back is nigh impossible. But if you're in that position and you can make that connections, that's where it really stands apart. I mean, how many veterans do we talk to, especially with the type of veterans we work with, who they want to start building wealth. They want to start creating that foundation. I got a client right now in San Diego. They own 4 VA properties with VA loans on all of them, right? And that's legal, and they're making it happen. And they're trying to figure out, how do I generate more cash to do it? Well, if you're willing to put in the work, something like this can be advantageous, because it's just a way to where you work more, you have a good chance to make that more money to do it. What are your thoughts there?
Oh, dude, I 100% agree. And I think that there's not enough information out, which is why I'm trying to do this VA loan seminar. But there's just not enough information out there for people to know that you can have more than one VA loan, and it's not a big deal. But I don't know, man. I stand by my other thing.
Yeah.
Just get up and do it. It's fire. I mean, and like you said, the connections that you have while you're in, you're not going to have them when you get out.
Yeah. Well, let's shift a little bit. Let's start talking to the veteran who's going to watch this, and they're like, you know what? I want to get my license, right? What is the first step they need to do?
Okay. First step is whatever state you're in, you need to go and register for some sort of real estate salesperson class. Mm-hmm. You can do that a variety of ways. You can either go through a sit-down course, but like me, I didn't have time to do that, being that I have another job. So I did mine online. I went through the ceshop.com and I got my license through them. It took me 8 months, but I mean, if you're cranking and you can just knock it all out, you can get it done in less than a month, depending on the state, because each state it has their own rules. You know that.
For sure. And actually, I think I want to go back a little bit before that. A recommendation I have that I learned the hard way on is, we have both hop brokerages. And for those of you who don't know how this system works, is when you get your regular real estate license, you have to tie it to a broker or brokerage. There's a lot of different options. I don't care what state you're in, that the model is still the same. Mm-hmm. I'll take them. And what you need to do is you need to find where are you going to hang your license with. And there could be a lot of different ways that you can do that. So why don't you give a little bit, an explanation about that, like who they should hang their license with. What are some things you should look for in a broker when you don't know what you're doing? And should you join a team? Should you not join a team? What should you do?
Okay. So when you're looking for a brokerage, right, one thing to keep in mind is that the brokerage is not hiring people. We're independent contractors. So we are not getting hired. We're not an employee. So really, you should be looking for a brokerage that's going to work for you. Because you can hang your license anywhere. The brokerage doesn't care. The best thing I was told at one point was every brokerage is trying to get as many agents as they can underneath in their company, because they know that every agent can produce one deal. So they don't really care who joins, just as long as many people as possible join their brokerage. So really, when it comes down to choosing a brokerage, you should be looking for one that suits you. My first brokerage was okay. It was owned by a prior military person. And it was okay at the beginning, but I didn't really know any better. So I guess that's where this stuff comes in. So like, for example, you and I were at EXP, and the reason I like EXP right now is because it allows me the opportunity to be in a brokerage, but not have to go to an office every single day. The office is all cloud-based. So that's really nice when it comes to being in the military, because we are all over the place and we can move at different times. And the other nice thing about this brokerage is the fact that it is in every state. So when you are getting your license, if your brokerage is a small boutique brokerage, well, the next place you go PCS to might not have that brokerage there. So then you would have to go sign on with another brokerage. So keep that in mind as well. If you do plan on, if you're like earlier on in your career in the military and you want to stay in, then, you're going to have to think about that down the road.
And the cool thing about EXP, and that's why if you're listening to this and you're looking to get licensed, like I would love for you to reach out to me and Ed to have that the unbiased conversation first. Oh, man. Because what's going to happen is the cool thing about companies like EXP is when you join us, when you close a deal, the company gets paid. Your broker always takes a piece. It varies. Some say they're 100%, but the broker's still getting a fee somehow. They are getting their piece for being in charge. Now, you eventually can get your broker's license. Right. Most states, it's about 2 years of having a regular license. Then you can get a broker's license, and then you can be independent if you so choose. It's not cheap, but it's a way you can go. Under EXP, the cool thing is when you get your, like, say, 20% to the broker at EXP, well, we get a piece of that 20% for agents that join underneath us. The cool thing is you get free access to, like, our course, how we leverage ourselves to be able to make it work while being busy dads and agents and stuff like that, or active duty military like Ed is. So the cool thing is choosing the right people to join, especially at a company like us at EXP. Like, you have people that are doing what you're trying to do, and they have the same goals you have. They get incentivized to help you. But the great thing is, it's not from your money, because once you close, like at EXP, once you close $16,000 in commission, you're 100%. And EXP is still paying us from the piece, but you capped, so we don't go any more past that. Like, that's 100% of your money to you. So it still works out in the end. And the cool thing is companies like EXP, like, you get stock programs at a discount rate. Like, you get to build wealth in more ways than just, being a part of nothing. So be wary. Like, the first broker I was a part of, like, that didn't have that program. Like, I was on a team, and I would, for my entire life, I would just keep paying and never have a cap. It would just be 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%, and it would never have an end. So you want to make sure you choose a brokerage that has the same goals you have. You're aligned with the people of that brokerage who have the same goals and have your best interest at heart, and making sure that they have the same alignment. Like, me and Ed, we're both in agreement. Like, I love helping veterans in sales, but we want to buy more real estate too. My whole goal isn't just to be opening doors for home buyers at 60 years old. I don't want to do that. And the cool thing is our group of people, agents of the armed forces, like, we're a group of veterans with real estate licenses that our goal is to be in business, to grow stuff, and also have fun doing it and help each other in the process. So you want to make sure you align with people that can help you and have the same goals. And honestly, I would do that even before looking how to get your license, because we can easily walk you through the whole process from start to finish.
True. And then the other thing you were asking about teams. Should you join teams? Should you not join a team? So teams can be a little bit tricky sometimes. At the beginning, can teams be really good? Yes. For instance, our team that we're starting, Agency Armed Forces, our whole plan is to help you. If you're one of those guys that's looking, or ladies that's looking to get your real estate license and you're active duty, or you prior active duty, hey, for real, hit us up, because we've got a whole system in place that we've done this. We know the process. We can get it going relatively quickly and start getting you some of those clients. Right. And then on top of that, we would take you through everything and teach you how to leverage the virtual assistants and everything, so you can get it off your plate. So, for instance, like I'm supposed to go on deployment in the fall. Yep. Well, if I go on a ship, I don't have access to the internet. So, the VA comes in handy because they can handle all of that while I'm gone. So, as far as a team goes, though, they can be good, and just like everything else, there's good teams, there's bad teams.
Yeah, I think for those like us, the team just doesn't fit because they keep you in that role, right? Mm-hmm. You can eventually become a team leader and be the top agent in the office, and that could fit because a lot of teams, they'll feed you leads, they'll help you get started, and they'll have like a weekly team meeting that you can be a part of. But I think for individuals like veterans and active duty military, like, our schedules are all over the place. So it doesn't necessarily fit someone's schedule who's all over the place. Now, it still might. And I'm not disregarding a team. And the cool thing about EXP is you can join a group like us, but you can still be a part of a team. And the cool thing is like, we can advise you a good team for your area because we know them all. Right. And we can tell you, hey, this team is well known. It's good for you. Like, let me reach out to the people I know that are there and see if I can get you an interview to get on the team. So it still works out both ways. But understand that, depending what approach you're taking, and even working with us, like, we can easily find a way for you to get a couple closings under your belt. It's just a matter of making sure you align and you know the plan and your goals before you get started. And right. And like I said, you can always reach out to us. Like, even in this, like, there's always a way. If you're watching this on Facebook Live right now, you can send us a DM. If you're watching the audio version or on YouTube, hey, either comment or like you can always reach me or Ed on social media, and you can always get a hold of us. Super easy. Never something that you can't do. So yeah, I think the biggest thing is like if you're looking at getting a license, you want to make sure you talk to someone who's unbiased, who's just going to sit down, which we're happy to do so, and just sit down and have an unbiased conversation. I think in the description of every one of these episodes, there's a link where you can book a call with me. You just pick a time on my calendar. I leave it open for everyone. It's 15 minutes. We'll have a quick conversation and see what the heck's going on. And I leave that open for everyone. So
yeah, man.
Awesome,
absolutely.
man. Well, hey, if you know me, you know how to get a hold of me. Thank you so much for being part of this episode. Ed, how can they get a hold of you?
So you can either go to our website, so it's aidensaf.com, and go to the contact page, or like you said, you have your link there, and I'm sure Cameron would happy to get me in there and we can have a meeting together. Or you can hit me up. My number right now is 904-604-7755.
There you go, man. All right, guys. Well, last piece, obviously, thank you so much for watching this episode. If you're looking to join us or have an unbiased conversation, you can reach out to us as we described. Getting a license in the military can be a great thing, but you have to make sure you do it the right way and make sure you have the plan before you just jump into it head first. Because if you don't have an idea what you're doing, you got to make sure you align with people who know what you're trying to do, who have been there, walked your shoes, and can kind of walk you through step by step. And it always leads to a better success down the road, is learning from our mistakes. That way you don't have to make them. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for being part of this episode in the community. You can always reach us in the comments and as we described, and look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode.